Hello and welcome to day 2 of post-production, behind the scenes, editing, sound design, all of that stuff. Today I recorded sound effects of the keyboard, the desk slam, and the chemicals bubbling in a lab. Obviously I used a keyboard, a desk, and I also used my kettle for the sounds of the chemicals bubbling. I also recorded the lines for the general's dialogue, which I'll be explaining in more detail later on in the video. To create the desk slam, I literally just hit my desk, making sure to get my fingers on the keyboard at the same time, because obviously the keyboard would be on the desk when the general slams it. To create the keyboard sound effects, I used my own keyboard from home. It's a mechanical keyboard with red switches, so it has that nice clicky sound that's nice and loud that you would probably want to hear from a keyboard when recording. To create the sound effect for the bubbling chemicals in the lab, all I did was just boil my kettle, and then as the kettle started to finish boiling and the bubbles started to become bigger and louder, that's when I started recording the audio, because that's when the bubbles would have been most loud, most easy to capture, and closest to the sound that I was trying to go for. The reason I chose to give the general a New Orleans accent is because I feel like it makes him instantly dislikable, not because of the accent necessarily, but because of the connotations that in my mind the accent has, right? In the Marvel comics, the character Gambit has a Cajun accent from that kind of New Orleans, Louisiana area, and Gambit is a hero. His character traits, he's very cool, he's very suave, and then if you put that accent that you would associate with a hero and those character traits on the villain, it makes him instantly dislikable, in my opinion, because you would associate that accent with those character traits if you know who the character of Gambit is. In our minds, Gambit has a right to act like that. He's a hero, he helps people, he's part of the X-Men. He has a right to act like that. He has a right to be that way because he does so much good for the world. Whereas the general, you take that and you put it on him with that accent as a reference point between the two, and you give him those character traits and you give him that accent, it makes him instantly dislikable. You can't look at him and think that he's suave and cool and handsome and sophisticated. You look at him and he acts like all of those things, but because he's the villain, because he thinks he's the good guy, he thinks he's doing good, he just seems egotistical, arrogant, full of himself, condescending, everything under the sun except for good, and everything that we would associate with a hero like Gambit, who has that accent and those character traits. So it's less of what the accent is and more of the connotations that come along with that accent. And of course, if you don't know who Gambit is and you didn't know he had that accent, then this accent and this way that the general carries himself of thinking that he's the good guy, acting very suave, coming across as egotistical and arrogant, it will just, you'll still dislike him because he's acting that way when he's the bad guy, you know? Also, that accent is just, I think it's brilliant. I think the way certain words are enunciated, and the way certain letters are pronounced as well within words, is brilliant, and it's kind of hard to imagine that anyone who speaks like that is anything other than suave and sophisticated. And yeah, when you put that on a villain, it makes them seem annoying and like you want to punch them in the face, which I think is a good way to react to a villain. That's how you know a villain's good, when the audience doesn't like him either. And not necessarily they don't like him because of the way he's written. That would be a bad thing. You know, they're supposed to like the way he's written, but they're supposed to agree with the hero, and not like the villain from that perspective, which is how I hope people will react to the general. I didn't personally want to voice him, But here we are anyway. I couldn't get a voice actor in time, so I had to watch YouTube tutorials on how to do that accent. I had to watch the X-Men animated series, and every scene with Gambit in, I would watch and listen to how he pronounced certain words so that I could kind of learn how to do that accent, and I think it's turned out all right, but I can't watch scenes without cringing at myself. I'm about to record the General's lines. I've got Adobe Audition open, I've got my microphone here, and I've got the script here, ready to record them. Take 2 of the General's lines. No point in fighting it. We made sure you can't. We tried to make you better, but it didn't go quite as planned. Well, it ain't that simple. At first, I wrote you off as a failed experiment. A mistake to learn from, you know? Try that one again. Well, it ain't that simple. At first, I wrote you off as a failed experiment. A mistake to learn from, you know? But after seeing what you can do, combining that with my initial idea, whoo, now that's a perfect soldier. I'll see you in the morning, Corporal Harvey. Run around. On the walls, on the floor, I don't care, just run. Run around, on the walls. Run around. On the walls, on the floor, I don't care, just run. Try that again. Run around. On the walls, on the floor, I don't care, just run. Anyway, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it was informative. Thanks for watching.